what's up you guys? This is SentryProductions and welcome back to another episode of the Watchtower. If you're new here, this is just basically a deep dive into my toy photography. I take you through my setups, how I pose my figures, where I get my ideas from, what I'm reading, stuff like that. And this episode is kind of a special one. It's my namesake for episode 51. You know, I figured you might as well, let's go all out and do just a Sentry episode. Now we're riding high off of the coattails of Thunderbolts, which I really enjoyed, thought was a great movie, and of course it featured my boy Sentry in it, and I thought they did him justice, and I thought it was really cool to see him on the big screen. So when I think of Sentry, I think about my formative years of comic reading, and that was the Dark Reign era. That was Secret Invasion, that was like post-Civil War, Thunderbolts, Mighty Avengers, New Avengers, and of course the Dark Avengers. I think of all of those titles, when I think back on this era, I have the fondest memories of Dark Avengers. It was just such a new and exciting thing that Marvel was doing, you know, making my favorite superhero team into a bunch of evil sons of bitches. And I thought that was so cool. And what a great storyline, written by probably my favorite comic writer, Brian Michael Bendis. And then, of course, Mike Deodato did all the artwork, and it's just fantastic. So starting off with a little group shot here, this is a recreation of Dark Avengers number 12. And this is just mainly posing for me. I'm using a white backdrop, so this is a white hot, so I don't have to worry about setting up a scene, but I really want to hone in on my posing for this. I'm trying to get it as close to the cover as I can, which is normally easier said than done. But we've gotten pretty much new updates on most of these figures except for two of them, that being the Hawkeye and the Ares. These are just years and years in the past. I think the Hawkeye is from 2014, the Ares is from 2017, but in reality it's really from like 2007 because it's just a remold or a re-deco of the Ares Build-A-Figure from the 2000s. So we need updates on these guys really, really badly. The rest of these guys are fairly modern, good articulation, and pretty easy to pose around. Just got the Dakin. He's the newest one from the mini comic wave. This Moonstone, Dark Miss Marvel is also a great figure. I love that mold. Got the retro Spider-Man from 2022, and then Sentry's from 2022, back when Walgreens was selling figures. I miss going to Walgreens and getting figures. It was a fun little time. You never knew you might go into Walgreens and find a figure for like $2. I think I found like 4 Sentrys for like $2.50, and I bought them all, and I was like, fuck, it might as well, right? So yeah, that's what's going on with this setup right here. So as you can see, I got a lot of lights. There's multiple lights hitting just the backdrop. I got one of my big boys right here, putting a lot of light on those figures. And then I also got one of my panel Ulanzis right there. You really got to hit it with a lot of light because you want the white to really wash out in the image, so it kind of feels infinite in a way. So to do that, you need a lot of light, but it's kind of a delicate balance because you don't want to put too light to where you're overexposing all your characters here. So just the right balance. I'm going to go into Lightroom after this and color correct some stuff. On that cover, there's a lot of heavy shadows. So I want to try to do my best to maybe bring out some of the blacks in a lot of these figures to kind of simulate that in a way. But yeah, we're just getting started with some Sentry shots. I got some really cool ones in the pipeline. I'm going to show you guys how I've been do some of my cutouts. I have a kind of a cool idea I want to do, recreating another cover. And I'll just kind of take you through any just random quick shots that I'm going to take for Sentry, but going all in on Sentry. I like doing this with certain characters, and I think it's only right that I do it with my boy Sentry. So let's check out this image, and then let's get on to it. Alright, so here's a new view for you guys. I've never really shown you guys this kind of area of, I don't know, is this a workspace? I guess it's a workspace where I play with my toys mainly, but working on some cutouts for this Sentry shot. If you guys are familiar with what this kind of looks like, I want to recreate Action Comics #1, the cover, but I want to do it with Sentry since we're in the midst of all these Sentry shots. This was printed on a 11x17 paper. It's been glue sticked to construction paper. I've never really shown anybody how I do my cutouts, but I think it's at this point one of the things that I'm known for is these cutouts. It's just normal printer paper, glue sticked onto construction paper. It's got a white back and a black front. This is the chalk version of a poster board I get from Hobby Lobby. I make so many cutouts that I kind of found which one I like the most, like which construction paper to use. So this is a little bit thicker than normal construction paper. The reason you want to use construction paper is because you want to have the cutout keep its form. If you just use a regular piece of paper, you start running into issues with like lights shining up behind it. And then also you kind of need to keep its form, because if I'm having Sentry hold this up, let's see if we can get him in a quick little holding up pose just for... I'm trying to get him to hold this up. If it's just normal paper, it's just gonna be flapping around all over the place. You also have, like, if you have a fan in your room, that becomes an issue. But yeah, it's just glue sticked, extra strength glue stick. Elmer's, I buy them like 20 pack, go through like a 20 pack a year, or maybe a year and a half, I don't remember. But yeah, recreating this this cover. I'm gonna have him holding this up into a rock. Got the other wheel right here, same principle. And then I guess, if you guys want to check out this is another one I'm going to be doing. This is I hope everything's not showing up backwards, but if it is, sorry. But this is Sentry ripping Null in half, which, you know, famously Null ripped Sentry up and then he's just doing it back. I've actually already taken a shot of Sentry ripping Ares in half before, but this is going to be a cool one. When it comes to cutouts, sometimes when you print stuff out, it actually comes out a little bit darker. So if this appears really light, that's why, because, you know, I want the colors to come through. It's also really hard scaling these types of cutouts because, you know, I want it to match up to Sentry. I want to make sure it's like the correct proportions. So this might be a little bit bigger than normal, but it'll be just enough to where it doesn't look strange in camera, I hope. Another cool thing I did about this is I actually printed out another head of this guy, and I'm gonna just I'm just gonna hold it right over Sentry's head. You guys get the full effect. It looks about the right size. So yeah, we'll get Sentry in there ripping him apart. This one I'm not gonna do on camera. This is gonna be really tough to do. It'll take me a little bit longer, but once you do enough cutouts, it's really not rocket science. It's really easy. So yeah, this is my little workstation. This is where I cut. This is also where I use Sharpie along the edges and everything. What I cut with one of these what are these called? X-Acto knives. This one's got some mileage on it, bro. I actually don't. I just keep it in this case. I have extra blades right here, but yeah, I put a lot of work into this one, so we'll keep that out. I have a smaller one right here, but I don't really. I've just gotten in the groove with this one. This one's got like it's got like a precision tip on it, which I really like. I got this in like at Walmart or some shit a million years ago. Just been using it a lot. I also use a lot of scissors too. These are just Scotch scissors, and then I have a smaller pair of precision scissors if I have smaller cuts I want to make. But yeah, I'm just playing with my toys. Got some Sentrys on the desk here too. This is the original Sentry with some of the arms swapped out. But I put the old head on. He's got a different cape. Yeah, he's got that really nice big belt buckle. I like that. I got my Void right here. I've been playing with this. Gonna do a pose. This is such a crazy ass figure. I mean, this shit is insane. I've already taken one shot of it, but I'm gonna take another shot. If you recognize, this is gonna be from when this version of Sentry's Void first appears in Siege, when he loses control. And I got the background printed up and everything. It's gonna be sick. And then just so you guys know, I got some other Sentrys. This is my short cape Sentry, and then this is the long cape Sentry. Working with a lot of different Sentrys. You can see I have 4 right here. I have 3 of just this one open, but there's a reason why I have so many open. This one I mainly use to kind of figure out poses without having to deal with the cape. then this one with the shorter cape is easier for getting group shots and shit where like I don't want to have a big ass cape in the way of every shot. And then this is also the one I have my custom painted head on for the new Avengers version of Sentry. And then this one's the long cape Sentry. This is the old Sentry head. This isn't usually how I keep it. I just have that on there right now. Yeah, this is just a bigger cape, you know. This is for like flying shots, his cape flowing in the wind, shit like that. So that's the reason why I have so many of these Sentries lying around. And I also got another little Sentry head right here. It's got the back cut out of it, so you can just pop this shit off. And then, you know, with the normal head, when it's like that, you can't really move this head back at all because all this hair, nicely sculpted, really cool details on it. But you can see some of the hair has been removed from the side. He looks kind of strange. This one, does look kind of strange, but you know, get him looking all the way up now. So that's what I did with one of the extra heads. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now is I am going to cut this out, and you guys can see how I do that. This cutout shouldn't take me too long, maybe like 10, 15 minutes. Once I get going, I get going. But yeah, so let's get into this. I'm gonna put this to the side. I got two little pieces right here. I'm gonna get those off to the side, and then I'm just gonna do this border, any part with yellow. I'm gonna use the X-Acto knife to get out, and yeah, it's gonna be sick, hopefully. So. Alright, so I got this all set up. This one was kind of a lot to set up, but this is my interpretation of Action Comics #1, but obviously with Sentry. And I'm going to change the title. I'm going to like turn this into a cover and everything. I'm going to have my buddy Jorge work on it. Lord Teutanus on Instagram. He's a wizard with Photoshop as far as making things happen for like comic book cover recreations, everything. He's just the best at it. But I'm going to call it Power Comics #1 because I don't want to just steal Action Comics. I want to kind of reinvent it. Well, not reinvent it, but do it basically a pastiche of it, you know, like I want it to be Sentry's own version of that. And I was kind of throwing around names, like initially I was going to do like Golden Comics, but that just was like a little too on the nose. I think Power Comics would be something that would be along the same lines without, you know, just straight up taking Action Comics. So yeah, so what we got working here, this is as close as to a recreation of that cover as I could get. I was fortunate enough to find a cutout for was this a Studebaker? I don't know what kind of car this is. Old-timey late 30s car here. You know, this is a very, I mean, when you think about comic book covers, this is like, what, top 5? Most, I mean, I would personally say it's probably the most iconic comic book cover of all time because it's Superman #1, dude. This is the birth of the superheroes. But yeah, I was able to find this cutout. This was taken from a Harley Quinn book. Like, I could have found a high definition of Action Comics #1, but the art is, you know, is very dated. So this is a more modern reinterpretation of it. This is like Harley Quinn smashing it or some shit. I forget exactly who, but I just really liked how this looked. It was high definition. I pulled it out, I cut it out. Got a bunch of figures back here. Was trying to play along the lines of like Sentry and like who would be in the background of the bad guys or civilians. So I got Norman Osborn right here, Tony Stark right there. I just thought it made sense. Or it's cool, little Easter eggs back there. And then I was just lucky enough to, you know, when I'm you know, looking for dioramas and stuff, I try to have a nice like eclectic, you know, variety of different dioramas. And I was just fortunate enough that I found this one years ago. And honestly, I've only ever used this once, but I always hold on to all my dioramas. I think Simon Hill told me one of the funniest things I've ever heard as far as why he keeps all his diorama pieces, and he says, he always goes, every diorama piece has a moment to shine. So, you know, you hold on to it and eventually you'll be able to use it. It worked out really good right here. This looks almost exactly like what you see in the cover. Got some more cutouts back here because, you know, I have this big background right here, the sky background, and I kind of want to break up the bottom of that to the bottom of this. So putting these little cutouts back here kind of sells the depth a little bit better, at least I think it does, and it just kind of helps with the shot a little bit more. It's just layering, you know, stuff in the foreground, stuff in the background, and of course we got to focus in the middle ground here. I also have this gentleman right here in the front. Let's see if you can see him now. He's going to be really out of focus, but I'm going to see if I can play around with a little bit of photo stacking and see if I can get him in focus. But this is one of the main parts of the cover. There's some guy running towards the cover screaming. So I have him in the front. He's way apart from, or way far away from all the action in the middle ground. He is like a good 1.5 feet away. So yeah, I'm going to stick him back there. But yeah, we can see I got Sentry. I decided to go with the short-haired Sentry. It just made more sense to me as far as trying to get like that iconic look of Superman. We'll have a lot of stands in this shot, but I've already been able to remove them, which, I mean, I just wouldn't have never really been able to do this shot if it wasn't for these stands. I mean, I'm just fucking being honest. I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like, oh, you could have just had the Sentry hold up the cutout. Well, he's not even touching the cutout, technically. This hand's not even touching it. It is all being held up by this stand and it being kind of wedged up against there. And then, of course, I have the rearview mirror, not rearview mirror, the side mirror and a piece of glass popping up, and I have just a little piece of plastic on each, and I was able to remove that digitally as well. It's just the having the stands and being able to remove the stands just makes everything it's truly making my visions come to life. I mean, it's just it's like it's opened up a whole new, it's a brand new ball game for me as far as taking shots and everything. But yeah, I'm really proud of this, man. Sometimes you map it out in your head, but there's going to be challenges along the way as far as making everything look the way you imagine it in your mind. But this one, I really didn't struggle with anything for the most part. I was just able to kind of map it out in my head and figure it out. It worked out really well. I've got these little rocks. You can find these are like for terrariums and shit, and I just think it works out really well for the ground here. And the cool thing about these rocks is I can really spread them out, so I can really play with a really big open environment, which is nice for a shot like this, because I don't want to just contain this to a small little piece of diorama, and for a crazy shot like this, is like such an iconic cover recreation, you really need room to play, and I think that dirt kind of allowed me to do that, and I think it looks great in camera too. It's like a more little modern interpretation, because the background in the comic book cover is just mainly yellow, but now you got this sky back there. I think it's like a recreation with my own little twist on it, and I'm so happy that I bought this fucking sky background, dude, because if I didn't, it's 24 by 36, if I didn't, I wouldn't have had enough room to really, it just wouldn't have been big enough, and thank God that one's so big. I mean, it's truly great. Lighting, man. Okay, lighting. This is a lot. So I'm holding, when I'm taking the picture, I'm holding a light in front of this guy. That's why he's dark. But we got this light right here, that light right there. Those are my Ulanzi panel lights. That's mainly to give light on the middle ground, on the Sentry, on this tire that's right here. I have this light right here. This is a Ulanzi color RGB light, changes colors, but this is angled. I don't want it like directly on the cutout like this, because then it's going to create a glare. So it's angled like perpendicular with the cutout, so it's lighting Sentry, it's lighting the cutout. This one right here is also lighting the cutout. It's lighting these two pieces right here. I have another light back here, which is giving Sentry some side lighting right there. It's also lighting up my Tony Stark a little bit. There's also another light hidden back here, just to light those little cutouts back there. I've got two big lights, one right there and one right there. Those are lighting my sky background. I also have two of the same lights on the ground, lighting the bottom half of the sky background. And then over here hidden, I have another light, and that's to give Sentry some side lighting, some back glow, and it's also hidden little old Norman Osborn back there as well. So lots of lighting here. It's a pretty ambitious shot, but I've taken so many shots now that I've gotten fairly comfortable, and I know what will work and what won't. And it's not like every time I take a shot it's a banger. There's shots all the time where I set it up, try to get it, and then just abandon it because it just doesn't look right, and I can just kind of feel in my soul that I'm not going to get exactly what I want out of it. Sometimes it's good to just cut your losses and then to move on to something that you will get a good result out of. That's just part of the game. But I think that's a good thing. I think that's good that you're not always just like putting out banger, 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 banger. You gotta leave some room for yourself to grow and know that, hey, this shit is not working, I need to move on. But I am so stoked about this. This is probably one of my most favorite shots I've ever taken. I got a lot of work as far as taking this down and then editing the rest of this shot, and then I gotta hand it over to Lord Teutonus, and he's gonna work his magic, and man, I think it's gonna be really sick. So you guys are about to see it right now, so let's check it out. Alright, got another little Sentry setup here. This one I just came up with last night. I was kind of perusing through some of the Sentry comics. Whenever I get kind of deep into a character and I start taking a lot of shots of them, I did this with the Dark Knight Returns series of shots. I don't know if you guys check out my Instagram or were on there, but I took I think 20 photos of Dark Knight Returns inspired type of shots. So I kind of do like a deep dive. So I was doing a deep dive on Sentry, pulled up the 2018 run by Kim Jacinto, and great artwork, by the way. And I think Jeff Lemire wrote it. and there's like a little part where Sentry comes back, and Tony's like, oh shit, he's back, and he assembles in the Hulkbuster suit. They don't really clash it out all that crazy. I think Sentry kind of just pulls him out of it immediately. Not like physically pulls him out of it, but he like blasts him with some kind of like cosmic blast. Who knows? You know, Sentry's powers are always changing, but it got me thinking. So I pulled out my Hulkbuster. God damn, I love this figure. It's just like, this is my second favorite figure of last year. I think my first was Giant Man. This is my second. I love playing with this figure. So when it came to Sentry, I wanted to do something really simple. You know, the Hulkbuster's got a lot of might, a lot of strength. So I wanted Sentry to kind of just nonchalantly stopping his fist from being thrown at him. This reminds me of a shot from years and years ago that Magno Legends on Instagram did. I don't think his account is there anymore. I think he deleted his account, unfortunately. But one of my favorite artists, I've inspired many shots from his work. And there was a shot of the Thing just punching Sentry from, I think it was New Avengers number 10. And it just reminds me of this shot. Like, Sentry's just like so formidable that, like, you know, no one can really hurt him or anything, and he can make really kind of insane feats look very simple. So that's this shot, very simple shot. Got my base from Myron Studios. It's kind of my dirt base. I used this for my last shot as well. Got the big 24 by 36 sunset back there. Got to make sure that the Sentry stands out because background's yellow, he's yellow. Got to make sure that if I do go in and color correct this, I make either his yellow different or make that background a different yellow so you can kind of distinguish them, even though you can pretty much distinguish them pretty well. Alright, so on the table with, you guessed it, another Sentry shot. So while I'm doing this deep dive of Sentry, I want to make sure I have a nice variety of shots. You know, I don't want to take like him just flying over and over and over again, you know, as much as I would like to. I love getting my characters in flying positions, especially now since I've been removing the stands. It's just something I've always wanted to do, but I was just always, you know, tangible. So now that I've crossed that threshold, now I'm trying to, you know, spice it up. You know, Sentry has had a few costume changes over the years, not as much as, you know, Batman, Superman, and Iron Man, you know, with the armors and suits and everything like that. But he has, you know, he had minor changes, like in some series he's had gloves and he's had a mask, like right here. And then other series he's had the open palms and long hair, and then he's had short hair. So there's a couple different variations that you can do. So this is the kind of the first appearance, kind of golden age type of look for Sentry. You know, if you know the character, you know anything about Sentry, like he's kind of twilighted as a character that was forgot by everybody because he was so powerful and the Void came out that they kind of had to erase everybody's memory of him, because if everyone forgot the Sentry, then the Void couldn't come out. And then when he did come back, of course the Void came back as well. But he was like their greatest superhero when he was the Sentry, when he was wearing this getup. What's interesting about this shot is this is just a cutout of the head. So you can see I don't have a head on the figure. It is just kind of blue tacked on there. That's blue plumber's tack right there. And I have it just kind of right on the front of the figure there. We've got our Ulanzi panels right here. These are great lights for a soft kind of light on the figure that doesn't create a lot of glares. That's why they have these like little covers on them. This light right here is my Ulanzi garage kit. Ulanzi sent that to me a while back. Dude, Ulanzi's got the most affordable, best shit. I've been using this shit for like almost 2 years. It has never quit on me. This is very hard to find though. It's like, I guess you guys can't really see it that well, but it's very hard to find. It's not really something easily accessible online. Might be a foreign type of light or something, but this is my panel light. I bought this years ago. I bought it and it didn't come with the battery, and then I had to buy the battery. I was still a noob back then, but it comes in handy. It gives off a lot of light. It also runs out of battery really quickly. The background back here, that is an 11 by 17 picture, so the frame has to be very, 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 very tight, which is fine. I'm used to that. If I wanted to print something bigger than that, it's gonna cost me a lot. A lot of people use TVs, which is cool. I've used TVs a lot in the past too, but it's not something I like lugging around. I don't just have like an extra TV lying around, so I gotta use my regular TV, and I don't like pulling it up here, setting it all up, and then sometimes when I put a USB device into my TV, it doesn't pull up the picture. I don't know why, but in my experience, I feel like the paper always translates better onto the photos. That's just me. But anyways, that's this shot. This is from a comic run called Age of Sentry. Sentry's had quite a few comic runs. He had his initial run, then he had the John Romita, Paul Jenkins run, and then he had the Age of Sentry run, he had the Jeff Lemire run, and then more recently he had the, god damn it, I don't know who the writer is on it, but it's not really, it doesn't really involve Robert Reynolds so much as basically splinters of his power get distributed amongst a bunch of different people. It's an interesting little story. I would say personally my favorite one has got to be the Paul Jenkins, Jay Lee, or Jai Lee, however you say it, run. It's the first 10 issues are amazing. If you like Sentry, you think he's cool, I think you'll really enjoy that read. John Romita's run is pretty cool too. I love John Romita Jr. I love his artwork. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but he is definitely mine. So let's check out this shot. Alright, so I got another little shot on a rooftop right here. This is from, I want to say like Sentry number 4 or number 5, and this is basically after he gets his powers back. A bunch of the other heroes are kind of rediscovering him and remembering him, and he knows the void's coming, so he's kind of takes a moment on this rooftop while he's talking to Tony Stark. Didn't put Tony Stark in this, but I just wanted to take a nice little rooftop shot. I was initially going to have him standing on the corner, but it's just so much cooler when they're flying, right? I mean, it's just, come on, let's be honest. I wanted this to be very open. I really wanted to get a nice sense of like the scale, nice city backdrop. I'm using my nice BTS diorama here. This is the only one I have of his. Very talented diorama maker on Instagram. I actually bought this from him before I even really knew what he made. I really liked this. He was selling it on a story. I don't really use it all that often, but when I do, it's a very large set. Like this whole diorama is very large. And then of course I'm using the huge 24 by 36 cityscape background paper back there. Lots of lights going on for this shot to really light everything. So as you can see, there is a lot going on here for a very simple shot. I just kind of wanted him hovering there, looking up, using the Hank Pym 2-pack head, which works pretty good as a Sentry. It's got this really like kind of mean look on the face, which I don't know if it suits the scene so much. I mean, you can't really see the details that close on the face, but I just thought it was funny. Whoever sculpted that head, they just like made Hank Pym look like an asshole, which I kind of like. Maybe, he's been an asshole many times throughout the comics, i.e. Yellow Jacket. But you can see lots of lights. I have a light right here and right here. This is mainly to light the bottom of the roof right here because, when you take these away, you can see it gets kind of dark down there, So you gotta have something to light it up. This is what they do on movie sets, man. They light everything, including the background. So obviously several lights on the background. Both of those are gonna be like up here, up there. So they're probably not in the frame, but those are my E-Mart lights. They provide a lot of light. Been using them for years. They're just like generic ass studio lights, but they work pretty good for lighting backgrounds. Once you get in your groove with your lights, you kind of really understand all this stuff. I have a panel right here giving him some light. I have my garage kit giving him some light on the front. I also have this light right here, which is just like a book reading lamp light. But it works really good for like rim lighting, and it also works really good for lighting something above the character. and it comes with its own stand, so you don't have to worry about getting some kind of rig or some kind of tripod kind of setup. I can just kind of pop this on, and it works really well. I really like using it. And then there's a couple more lights. There's another light hidden back here, and then there's one you can't even see right here. That's the light underneath the cape. You gotta make sure you light everything. So that's this little Sentry shot. This is probably the last shot I'm gonna use of him with the short hair. And this is one of the Sentries that I have that has the shorter cloth cape, so it's not the big cloth cape. So works out pretty good. So let's check this out. Alright, so got a little cutout shot here. This was, I think I showed this a little bit earlier to you guys. I might have gotten this confused with Null. This is actually the Void. This is from the 2018 Sentry run, where he's in Sentry World, which is, long story short, basically a Sentry virtual reality where he can fight his own bad guys and contain the Sentry within that world instead of bringing the Void out. So he's ripping the Void in half. Sentry loves ripping stuff in half. He himself was ripped in half by Null. He's ripped Carnage, Ares and Siege, I believe. And then now the Void right here. Sometimes you just see a cutout and you're like, damn, I don't really know if I can make this happen. But I knew it was just going to take a lot of little small cuts. And these really intricate cutouts right here, you know, they're not going to be perfect. So I kind of keep that in the back of my mind when I'm cutting them out. I went, if mistakes happen here and there, this is really like kind of delicate work. And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to kill myself over trying to make this cutout perfect. But that being said, I think I did a really nice job on this cutout. The cutout is also on the head right here. And you can see how it's attached. Got two pieces of tack right here under his arm. We got another piece of tack under the head. And that kind of just allows for it to bring a 2D image, three-dimensional in this shot. Working with the shorter cape Sentry right here. Very reminiscent of one of my earlier shots I did of Sentry ripping Ares in half, which was another really intricate cutout that was just as intense as this one, but I think I did a better job cutting this one out, and I think I spent a lot more time cutting the other one out. That other one was from like 3 years ago. It was really tough. But I really like how this turned out. This is a really cool little shot. I'm going to play around with the colors a little bit in post-editing. In case you're wondering what these are also cutouts, just blue tacked onto some 1/12 scale crates, and just something to kind of fill the space back there. Plus, when smoke's behind characters out of focus, it tends to look pretty sick. And I think it looks pretty sick here too. So yeah, that's my little Sentry and Void shot. Not really too much about the lighting. I have a lot of lights on the background to really white it out. And I have just a couple lights up front here, in front of the Sentry, right here. And then there's just one right above here. That's it, man. That's all she wrote. I mean, it's pretty clean cut, straightforward. It's actually the hardest part about the shot is making the cutout. So yeah, let's check it out. Alright, and to cap off this episode, I just wanted to show you guys all of the Sentry pictures I took. I reread a bunch of stories for this, Dark Avengers, Mighty Avengers, Siege, all the Sentry runs. I didn't reread the entire run, but skimmed through some of it. The important Sentry storyline points. But in total, I think I took 18 photos over the course of 3-4 weeks. Had a blast, was just on a huge Sentry hype. I love this character, obviously named my channel after him. And he's just a fun character, Marvel Superman, and I had a blast taking all these shots and pulling out all the Sentry figures I got, playing around with the Voids, getting to some figures I didn't get to shoot, and capturing some moments from the comics that I always really loved. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you enjoyed this episode as well. Leave below any feedback for me, or if there's something you liked. And until next time, this is Sentry Productions, and I will catch you guys later. Peace!